Scientists casting new doubt on our understanding of the Big Bang Theory is further evidence that humanity doesn't know nearly as much as we think we do about our place in the universe. This is Ben Scallan and you're watching Gript Media. Before we start the video, if you want to support Gript and our work, make sure to click like, subscribe and comment, even if you have absolutely nothing to say. Just comment your favorite alcoholic drink or something. Because by liking, commenting and sharing, the channel gets boosted in the algorithm and is seen by more people. So if you want to see this channel grow, just take 2 seconds right now to like, comment and do your part to support independent journalism. And with that said, on to the video. One of the most amusing tweets I've ever seen, which I remember and giggle about at least once a month, was by everyone's favourite pompous celebrity scientist and living meme, Neil deGrasse Tyson. In March of this year, presumably after a long hard session of attempting to make out with himself in the mirror, the astrophysicist Tyson took to Twitter to boldly declare, "What scientists know about the world is mind-blowing. What the public thinks scientists don't know about the world is alarming." Now, to be sure, science and the scientific method as we traditionally know it are amazing. Far be it from me to knock the crown jewel of Western society. These things are proud fruits of Christian civilization, as I covered in a previous piece, and have vastly improved the welfare of mankind. No sane person would say otherwise. And so it's in no way my intent to knock science here, alright? Science is great. But still in all, Tyson has it completely backwards here. The gap between what scientists actually know and what they think they know is what's alarming. And that gap has been highlighted yet again after new photos from the James Webb Space Telescope threatened one of modern science's sacred cows, the Big Bang, sending researchers into full panic mode in their own words. As one article on IAI-TV reports, in the flood of technical astronomical papers published online since July 12th, the authors report again and again that the images show surprisingly many galaxies. Galaxies that are surprisingly smooth, surprisingly small, and surprisingly old. Lots of surprises and not necessarily pleasant ones. One paper's title begins with the candid exclamation, "Panic." Now, why would researchers panic over this, you ask? Well, the piece goes on to explain. Why do the James Webb Space Telescope's images inspire panic among cosmologists? And what theories' predictions are they contradicting? The papers don't actually say. The truth that these papers don't report is that the hypothesis that the images are blatantly and repeatedly contradicting is the Big Bang hypothesis that the universe began 14 billion years ago in an incredibly hot, dense state and has been expanding ever since. Since that hypothesis has been defended for decades as unquestionable truth by the vast majority of cosmological theorists, the new data is causing these theorists to panic. Bear in mind that I'm no scientist and don't claim to be an expert in this field, but in very brief layman's terms, the problem seems to be as follows. For decades, scientists who subscribe to the Big Bang Theory have believed that the universe began 13 to 14 billion years ago and that the furthest galaxies from us are bigger and moving away from us. This in turn seems to indicate that the universe is expanding from a single point, meaning it all began from a central blast, i.e. the Big Bang. That's no doubt a very oversimplified version, but that's more or less the gist of it. The universe is expanding, therefore Big Bang. But in reality, these new telescope photos seem to show the precise opposite. The photos seem to indicate that the universe is not actually expanding, which raises the question, where did everything come from? Notably, the IAI-TV piece even includes a quote from Alison Kirkpatrick, an astronomer at the University of Kansas, who said that since the findings, she's been, quote, laying awake at 3 in the morning wondering if everything I've done is wrong. So people are going into a tailspin because of these findings. And bear in mind, by the way, I'm in no way slagging these people. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being wrong, especially in a scientific field, and especially in a field as complex as cosmology. I know that I've personally been wrong about much simpler topics. We all make 1,000 mistakes a day, even down to tiny things like grammar errors in our day-to-day speech. So if it turns out that these people's fears are realized and we've all been mistaken about the Big Bang, which remains to be seen, that doesn't mean that those who believed in it were somehow stupid or incompetent. The very best of us make mistakes and scientists are no exception. But whether the Big Bang is correct or not, what findings like this indicate is just how little humanity actually knows when push comes to shove. If new data can threaten to abruptly overturn even something as fundamental as this, which has been the backbone of our cosmological explanations for decades, is there anything that we can really say that we're truly certain of? People like Neil deGrasse Tyson would have you believe that we live in a world where most of the big questions have already been conclusively solved. Of course, there'll always be mysteries, they say, but on the really important stuff and the fundamentals, we've basically got it all done and dusted. That's the implication, and that's the overall attitude that's projected to the general public. And in fact, that's what most people today probably believe. And of course, this belief dovetails nicely with an atheistic worldview where the need for God and miracles has been squeezed out of the picture almost entirely. We don't need your hocus-pocus theistic explanation for this or that problem, they say. We've already explained that. But have we though? We still have basically no understanding of where life comes from, for example. Of course, we have ideas and hypotheses, but nobody has successfully managed to create life in a laboratory from scratch, let alone observe it generating itself. That's one origin which remains almost completely mystifying, and it's a pretty important one. We don't really even know where something as simple as stars come from or how they form. As reported in the Scientific American in 2010, if there's anything you think astronomers would have figured out by now, it's how stars form. It might seem that star formation is a problem that has been solved, but nothing could be further from the truth. The birth of stars remains one of the most vibrant topics in astrophysics today. The need to address these shortcomings has become increasingly pressing. Star formation underlies almost everything else in astronomy, from the rise of galaxies to the genesis of planets. Without understanding it, astronomers can't hope to dissect distant galaxies or make sense of planets being discovered beyond our solar system. And this makes sense. I mean, a galaxy is just a collection of stars, right? So if you don't understand how a star forms, you don't really understand how a galaxy forms, or a nebula, or a planet really. You sort of don't understand anything. We don't even really know what gravity is. As seen in a 2019 Washington Post article, we don't know what gravity is. Say that to the average person and the answer you'll probably get is some version of, what are you talking about? Gravity is the force of attraction that makes things fall straight down. But say it to a physicist and the answer you'll get is, that's right. And the piece then goes on to explain how little we actually know about this fundamental force. We don't know what the double slit experiment means. We don't know what the so-called axis of evil within cosmology means, human sentience, dark matter. We don't even fully understand something as seemingly simple as human nutrition yet. I mean, remember the food pyramid as a kid? Well, that's all been thrown out now, as outlined in a 2018 RTE article. Here's why the food pyramid is wrong. They now think that following the old food pyramid could lead to heart disease, among other things. So if we can't even say with certainty what an ideal human diet should look like, should we be shocked that we might have come to wrong conclusions about the origins of the universe as we know it? None of this is to say, by the way, we don't know, therefore God did it. That would obviously be stupid. But as in a court of law, we have more than a reasonable doubt here. We're still hardly any closer to answering mankind's eternal questions of who we are and where we came from. And so to mock or discount theistic explanations out of hand as if we already have a convincing answer is just not reasonable. The truth is, all scientists like Neil deGrasse Tyson can truly say is, we know a lot more about science than we used to. That's probably a safe enough bet. It's pretty clear that we have more scientific data to work with today than, say, some illiterate Iron Age peasant who thought an eclipse was a dragon trying to eat the sun. We probably know more than that guy. But that doesn't mean we have all the answers, or even most of them. We still know basically nothing, as these telescope photos have shown, and to say otherwise is to seriously delude ourselves. Please like and share this video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider signing up for a monthly donation via the link on screen to help us produce more content like this. Alternative media like Gript needs all the assistance it can get, and every donation goes a long way. As always, thanks for watching.